Greetings. Welcome to Ben and Barry on Football. My name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings. My compadre here is...
I am Ben Dickerson. I'm a fantasy geek, and I love the NFL.
Yeah, that's what this is all about. This is the matchup show. We are going into week 16?
16.
Holy mackerel.
Week 16. Fantasy football championship week.
Is it?
Yes.
And how many championships you win?
I'll tell you later. That's my rant.
Uh-oh. I got a rant too. I'm in the Madden, he's in the fantasy, and we don't even agree on that. So, you know, that'll show.
I love to watch other people play. I don't know how to play.
Your brother was good.
Yeah, he fell off though. Yeah.
I remember the first time I played your brother, I scored like right away. He was like, okay. Put my little 7 points up. I blinked 3 times. He had 42 points. It was ugly. It was ugly. However, yes, we're both football lovers, and we're going to talk about the matchups for the upcoming weekend. Now, as a basis for our discussion, we use the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings that I produce, and we have something called the bias. And we want to make sure that you understand what it is, so as we talk about it, it actually makes sense. So we rate teams by net points. We rank them by net points. Mm-hmm. And when one team is playing another team, the difference between their net points is called the bias. So if my team is playing Ben's team, and my team has 50 net points so far, and Ben's team has 80 net points so far, the difference between the two is 30 net points. That's the bias, and it's in favor of Ben because he has the higher number of net points. Now, when you take that concept and combine it with turnover differential bias, which is the difference, again, between the net difference and turnovers. Turnover differential is giveaways minus takeaways. So if Ben's team has a turnover differential of +8, and my team has a turnover differential of -2, the difference between the two is 10. So the bias is 10.
30.
Right. The bias is 10 in terms of bias for the turnover differential. We simply combine those two into what we call a bias plus score. So gives you an idea. This is actual information. We're not giving you opinion. The bias is what it is. We simply have to accept it. But it's a great place to start the discussion, because once you understand where they've been, now you're going to look at where they're going, and you'll take into account things like home field advantage, injuries, changes in personnel for other reasons. Right. You know, you take a team like the Chiefs who lost their running back, you know, not for injury, for other reasons.
Right.
You know, and so you take whatever other information that you have and add it to this fundamental if you're trying to forecast who you think is going to win. Mm-hmm. But the bias has some good probabilities over the year, and we're going to continue with this. I kind of look at it kind of like an experiment because nobody else does what we're doing. So let's go ahead and jump right into this, sir, as we look to the matchup show with Ben and Barry on football. So there you go. We're going to start out. I'm just going to share the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings with you in graphic form. So this is a chart, and this kind of lets you know what teams have actually done relative to net points. And net points and turnover differential are the two stats that have both a negative and a positive attribute to them. And then you can see just by the graphs who's doing what on what end. Saints being at one end, and who's that at the other end there? I can't even see that. That Oakland staking up the joint. So, yeah, you know.
No, it's the Cardinals.
Is that the Cardinals?
Raiders are right above them.
Right above them. So that just gives you a quick idea about what's going on the graphic level. Again, you can visit the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings on Facebook and on Twitter to get more of this type of information. So let's get started with the matchups. Yeah. First on the agenda, there's 2 Saturday games, and this is one of those Saturday games. Early in the evening, I think it's about a 4.
Wait, there's no Thursday night game this week. I started to just say, I'm not going to say nothing. We'll just go.
That's right, Benny. No Thursday night game. Wait.
So anyway.
That's a little heartbreaking. I'm used to Thursday night.
I know. You lose Thursday night and you gain 2 games on Saturday night. There's no good boxing matches and nothing coming on, so you know what I mean? College football's almost over. Saturday night.
A party Saturday night.
Oh, well,
we went to dinner this past weekend and my phone set up.
Oh, that's awful. Come on, don't tell me that.
Hey, man.
At a restaurant?
We was having a great time, too. Everybody was having a good time. But the ladies were talking amongst themselves, and, you know.
Okay, so that's all right.
They wasn't paying us no
attention. No violation.
It wasn't really a violation.
All right, so
where were we here? We were talking about the game.
Looks like we got the Skins versus the Titans.
The who?
The
Washington.
Titans.
We don't use that other word.
The Washington team against the Titans.
We don't say that other word. So you always see Washington.
Yes.
When we talk about versus the Titans. So the Titans are coming in with a net point bias of 59. Okay. Mm-hmm. Net points. That's the difference between them and the Titans. Them and Washington in their favor. Washington, however, has a turnover differential bias in their favor, netting out to a bias +4 score for the Titans of 48. You like that?
Correct. I do like that, in fact. I believe that's a pretty nice little 48 there. Not a big, gigantic bias plus, but I think it's solid compared to when you compare it to the way the 2 teams have been playing recently. The Titans have finally gotten their running game together, or I should say Derrick Henry has finally gotten himself together and is running the ball the way he should have been when I was advocating for him last year. And Washington's pretty much on their last legs.
Yeah, it's
they won last week, didn't they?
Texas. I mean,
no, Washington.
Washington, yeah. It's funny. Take Texas, right?
Don't worry. Don't even worry about it.
It's funny, you know. No matter how many quarterbacks down they go, it's almost you still can't count them out completely.
No, you can't.
They're down on 4th string
because they actually had a good team.
Yeah, they were.
If not for the injuries,
I thought they were favored in the division at one point.
They were
for the injuries. Yeah,
they were, because when they were riding high, Dallas was looking weak, and the Giants were looking weaker, and the Eagles, nobody was really sure. So
what do you got? You going with the bias?
Well, I'm going in with the bias, and I'm going to go with the Titans. Yes, that's correct.
All right. Late game on Saturday. Ravens at Chargers. This might be my intriguing game of the week. I haven't quite decided yet. The Chargers are coming in with a measly 9 net point differentials here in their favor. This is one of the few times when the turnover differential is larger than the net point differential, but the turnover differential comes in again in the Chargers' favor for bias +4 score of 19.
Well, I gotta like the Chargers at home. I believe that they're really, really getting it in gear now. They're playoff ready. The Ravens are becoming playoff ready. I think the Ravens are still kind of proving things to themselves as far as we already know the defense is pretty dominant, especially against the run.
Talking about the Ravens.
I'm talking about the Ravens.
Number 1 in defense.
Not necessarily as good against the pass as they are against the run, but I feel like as long as they keep the scores low and Lamar Jackson is still having his effect on teams that are trying to figure out and catch up with their film study on the things that he likes to do and be able to slow him down, that gives their defense actually an edge. they actually drive the ball. They're on the ground quite a bit. He throws very few passes, some dinks and some dunks. So their time of possession is high, which is also good for a dominant defense.
Especially when you got Phil Rivers on the other side.
Right.
They
So
keep him on the sideline.
exactly. So, but I think the Chargers defense is good enough to at last give the Ravens offense some trouble. And once they do that, I don't believe that the Ravens are built to come from behind.
Ravens are 25th in turnover differential at -7. So that's one of the reasons why that turnover differential is so big. Chargers are ranked 13th at +3. So, that could work in their favor.
In whose favor?
In the Chargers' favor.
Chargers' favor?
Yeah. Because again, you got a rookie quarterback. If they can put the pressure on him,
Absolutely.
He'll make a few mistakes.
Right. It will not be easy for them, but they will be at home. And Rivers is at the top of his game right now. I can't imagine him playing any better at the age that he's at. So this might be it for them. I think they're really going for it. I'm going to go with the bias again and go with the Chargers.
Thing about the Chargers, even at home, they seem to be more of the other team's fans in the stadium.
Yeah, they have no home field advantage. They have no home field advantage.
Bengals at Browns. The Browns. Now, when you see the net point bias score of 37 there in the Browns' favor, and it's in red, the reason that I put it in red is because both the Bengals and the Browns are negative net points. So that's just the difference between two negative teams, and that just kind of brings that out. However, we talked about in the previous top 5 show that the Browns are number 4, I believe, in turnover differential.
Yes.
So they're still doing pretty well in that. However, we did mention that 5 of those that they were net 5 in turnover differential +5 game 1. So they're only net 4 more between game 2 through game 15.
Right. Yeah, they got a big jump on everybody.
Right. And they had a little lull in defense. We started to question, defense a little bit because I was kind of high on their defense early on. Mm-hmm. But that gives them a bias +4 score of 46. You going with that?
Yeah, I like the Browns. I like the Browns. I like the Browns at home. I like Baker Mayfield. I like Nick Chubb. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Browns.
Okay. And you're not just saying that because of your tremendous dislike for the Bengals.
No.
Battle of Ohio, baby. That's where some of my peoples is at in Ohio. This is an interesting game to me. Because, again, you've got this kind of high-flying offense of the Bucs. They will put points up on you against the Cowboys' defense, which is now in the top 5. The Cowboys have the net point bias for score at 66, however, because the Bucs' defense is practically non-existent. I see them ranked here at 30th. And points given up. The Cowboys also have the turnover differential. However, both teams have negative turnovers. The Bucs, however, are egregious at -16 turnover differential. Cowboys not so egregious at -1. But that's where you're getting that differential at. But it gives a bias +4 score of 81. In favor of the boys. Think they can get it done?
Yeah, I think they can get it done. That measly turnover differential for the Bucs is a plus for Dak Prescott. I think they took that game last week a little lightly, although you would think that professional players would not do that, but hey, they're human.
You would think they don't have the division locked up. They wouldn't do that.
Right. But it's pretty simple, and you've heard it all week. I know it's only Wednesday, but you'll hear it for the rest of the week upcoming to these games this weekend. When Zeke gets 20-plus carries, they win. It's that simple. Zeke gets 20-plus carries, they win. The defense is the defense. And although Tampa Bay has been kind of having their way with getting on the board, and they may score, But I think this defense, when they're playing well, like they did against the Saints, they can give them a heck of a lot of trouble. And, Jameis Winston is far from Drew Brees. So I got to go with the Cowboys on this one, again, with the bias.
I heard 14 out of the games. 14 was 16 games or whatever.
This is 16 coming.
14 have like playoff implications. So I mean, chips are.
You gotta love it, man. You gotta love it.
Yeah.
Like they'll start laying out the scenarios this weekend. This weekend and the weekend for week 17, they will lay out every scenario. They need to win. They need this team to lose. They need this team to lose or tie. They need this team to. They're gonna run the numbers for you.
The puzzle's falling into place. Vikings at Lions. Vikings have a 64 net point bias, 4 in their favor, and a turnover differential 6, giving the bias plus 4 score to the Vikings at 70. They better beat the Lions.
They better. Kirk Cousins has got to be feeling the pressure of carrying the mantle of the savior for this team that was supposedly intact and Super Bowl ready, and then adding him, and it hasn't proven itself out yet, although they are still alive for the playoffs. And once the playoffs start, anybody can get hot. But it usually helps to get hot around the last 3 games of the season, and they haven't done that yet.
I don't think Kirk Cousins has a history of getting hot in the postseason. If he ever made it
he was on bad teams, dude. Give the guy a chance to get there. Give him a chance to get there and not get. What do you mean? So I say, Washington was a bad team. You going to dispute that? You know what?
Giants at Colts. Giants at Colts.
Take the Vikings.
Giants fan, what you got? You guys gonna take care of business, man?
No, we're not. Take the Colts at home with the bias.
You got the turnover differential in your favor.
I don't care.
The Colts are bias plus score of 112.
Odell's not playing. Odell's not playing again.
Right. He's not playing.
This is basically a showcase game for anybody that they might be getting rid of, although the coach said he's trying to keep everybody, but that's not true. So this is a showcase game for everybody to try to raise their stock in case they get cut or released or become trade bait.
Eli's playing.
Eli's playing.
Eli gonna be there next year.
According to the coach, yes.
I heard him say that.
Yeah, I also heard the Flyers say that they weren't going to fire their coach. And then
he's out there.
The next day, they vehemently, if I'm saying that right, vehemently denied it and cut him the next day. Pack your box up. Here's a box. Put stuff in there.
Well, again, we call Saquon Barkley the gift because we felt as if he was a gift to Eli. He would extend Eli's career. He at least gave him a year because they didn't choose a quarterback. They chose a running back. He might get one more year. He might get next year. And especially as he finished, because he hasn't played so bad in the last few games. They actually won a few games.
Have you watched the Giants games? The offensive line has actually improved. Believe it or not, the offensive line has actually improved. Got to go get a chance. Go back, watch a couple games.
Okay. All right.
That's the difference. Eli ain't gonna get no better. He is what he is.
But if you give him blocking,
if you give him blocking,
you protect him.
Yes.
And that's pretty much most experienced quarterback. And everybody, they're talking about one of the things there. Who was it? There was some quarterback they were talking about. I'm forgetting who it is, and they were showing film. Every time he would throw the ball, it might almost was Eli. He would turn his back.
That was Eli. Yeah. That's why he's never been hurt.
It's like he goes, and then he turns.
That's right. Chuck and Duck.
Jaguars at Dolphins. Both teams in the negative net points, but the Jaguars are less negative. They have a net point bias of 15 in their favor. The turnover differential, however, going to the Dolphins big time. Because one of the problems that the Jaguars had all year was giving up the ball. They are 30th and turnover differential at minus 12. So the Dolphins, on the other hand, have done really well, in terms of that. They're in the positive. So the bias plus score actually goes to the Dolphins at 6, but you got to think this is going to be a close game.
Yeah, I think it'll be a close game. I'm taking the Jaguars. I'm going against the bias on this one. Seems like every time I pick the Jaguars to win, they lose. And the times that I picked them to win because I think they're going to turn things around from the
Who's going to play quarterback
before.
Bortles now.
Cody Kessler.
Okay. And you still think that they can,
they can beat the Dolphins.
Even with their starting quarterback?
Kessler's been playing.
No, I'm talking about Dolphins have their normal.
They got Tannehill back.
He's back, yeah.
The Jaguars' defense is not playing well, but they don't stink. They're just not playing well. Okay. They're making mistakes, and they look real lackluster. There's a lot of young guys on that team, and young guys have a tendency to let down. I know nobody wants to hear it. Oh, they're professionals. This is what we forget, especially these people that are on talk radio and stuff. These guys are mostly between 20 and 30 years old. They're young. And you can say, oh, they're professional, they're not supposed to. Come on, man. Nobody wants to get their behind kicked. And when you get your butt kicked and your offense is going 1, 2, 3 and out, by the time you sit down on the bench, take your helmet off and drink some water, you got to put it back on and go back out there. It's not a good feeling.
Okay.
It's not an excuse. It shouldn't be happening, but that's just the way it is.
Bills at Patriots. Patriots have a 182 net point bias in their favor and a 15 turnover differential bias, giving them a bias plus score of 197, which is pretty high. What do you think about that?
Patriots need a win. They need to redeem themselves from that Steelers game. I think they really thought they had that one. And, when you dominate a team, and when I say dominate, I don't mean every time they play Pittsburgh, they kill them. But every time they play them, they beat them. Okay? And then all of a sudden, they seem
last 3 games.
Or 4, at least, yeah. And then all of a sudden, they seem to have you figured out and prove that they're better right now. It stings a little bit. So they need a win. The Bills are going to put up a fight, but it won't be much.
The Bills are so funny because they beat teams that they're not supposed to.
I understand that. They
lose big time.
Yeah,
to
it's
everybody
crazy.
Else. It's absolutely hilarious. But that's what the bias is saying for right now. Next, we have the Packers at the Jets. Such drama with the Packers. Such drama. Packers have the net point bias at 68 and a turnover differential bias at 10, giving them a bias plus score of 78 in Packers' favor. Is AR? He's playing, right?
As far as I know, he's playing. They got to show some pride or something, man. They got to show some pride. I don't even know if they're in the playoff picture. Probably not. But the Jets could win this game. I'm picking the Packers, and I'm going to go with the bias. But the Jets could actually beat them. I hate to say it. Gee whiz.
The Jets are 24th in offense and 24th
in points against.
27th in turnover difference.
Where are the Packers in points for?
The Packers in points for are 16th.
Okay.
And they're 17th in points against.
All right.
Which is why the Packers have a grand total of 1 net point in the positive.
Yes, but they have a 100 and oops, I'm on the wrong one. They have a 70-point bias plus over the Jets. That's enough.
I mean, the Jets are net point minus 67.
Yeah, they'll get it done.
All right. AR, I mean, he's just playing for pride right now.
Yeah, they got to show some pride.
I'm interested in this game. I mean, the Eagles stepped out, beat the Rams. No one was expecting that, or very few people were expecting that, especially with Nick Foles now back at the helm. The question was, could Nick Foles bring the Super Bowl magic along with him in the late season? They almost called him what I call Nick Mullins, Nick in time.
Nick in time.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, I'm stealing my phrases. But the Texans here have a 78 net point bias in their favor, turnover differential bias of 14, giving them a bias plus score of 92, which is pretty strong. However, the bias last night, this past weekend when we played the Rams, was even bigger in favor of the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
When I looked at the Texans, they are 8th in net points. The Eagles are 17th with -7 net points. So, the Eagles have a lot to prove. It's an uphill battle. What do you think?
They have to win if they have any chance.
So they would be eliminated if they lose this game.
I'm pretty sure they will be, especially if they lose. If they lose and the Cowboys win, their last game is against who? Washington?
Something like that, yeah.
One of them play Washington. It's not going to – it'll be bad. I think that the Texans will win the game, so I'm going with the bias. It looks like it's going to be an afternoon game. I don't know if it's going to be 1 o'clock or 4:30, but I think that'll kind of be in the Texans' favor too. The Eagles seem to get up for the prime time stuff and let down for the regular games.
Really?
That's the way it seems to me. So we'll see. I don't know what the weather's going to be like, other than the fact that it'll be cold, but I don't think that's going to bother the Texans too much. It'll be interesting. DeAndre Hopkins, who's basically uncoverable, going against the Eagles defense. What kind of day is he going to have? Now, the funny thing is, they just played the Rams, and I'm thinking, they're going to light these cats up. And their receivers had good days individually, but they didn't score.
You mean good plays or good? Yeah, good day. I understand what you're saying.
Good.
Yeah. They played
For lack
well.
of a better, they had good fantasy numbers. Okay, they each accumulated targets, receptions. They got yardage, not a great amount of yardage, and they didn't score touchdowns. That's a problem.
It's funny because with Brandon Cooks, you think that the Rams have stretched the field and all that kind of stuff so far, but it was the Eagles who stretched the field.
Yeah.
I had to give it to a caller on one of the radio stations here in Philly. Called in and he said he was kind of pro Nick Foles because he thought Nick Foles would actually go deep on him, and they did. I was like, okay, Nick Foles will put that ball out there. He can. Mm-hmm. He's got an arm.
Yeah, I heard that from some people too, that they think he actually throws a better long ball, accuracy wise. Obviously, Wentz has a strong arm, but he sees things and is not afraid to go to them where it looks like Wentz is playing it safe.
Little Birdie said that they think that Nick actually prepares better. Really, they won't say who that little birdie was.
Okay, moving right along.
Falcons at Panthers. Panthers, 14 net point bias in their favor. Again, both teams are in the negative. Turnover differential. Panthers at 3, giving them a 17 bias plus 4 score. Cam's not playing. The Falcons can score.
Panthers defense might have shot their load last week, though. They played great. And still lost. I got a feeling this is one of those games where one team just throws their hands up in the air. And I think that one team's going to be the Panthers.
When I was looking at the game, the one play, the Kareem, the running back, I'm sorry. Fast one.
For McCaffrey?
Kamara.
Oh, Kamara, right.
Went off to the right and ran into the end zone.
Yeah.
And as the Saints came up to the line, I swear, it looked like the Panthers were in goal line because they were giving up the flats.
Right.
They were like kind of crunched in. So when he broke it out, there was nobody there. I mean, you can't give him space like that to the outside. It was like they had put all their marbles that they were going to run that ball up the middle.
Now, where'd that play begin? 5, 10? They were close to the red zone, right?
Yeah, 15, 8, something.
See, that's the dilemma when you have an all-purpose back like that. He can go off tackle, he can go up the middle, he can go outside, or he can run to the flat, catch a pass, or they can flank him out wide and he can run around. Yeah, that's tough.
He's a bad boy. All right, here we go. Rams at Cardinals. I think I had mentioned in the previous top 5 show that after that game, I kind of looked at the Rams over the season at their net points compared to who they actually played. And
right.
They're high in net points, but one of the reasons is they rolled up a lot of points on teams like the Cardinals and the Niners, teams that we know now struggling all season and just haven't really gotten it together. The weak sisters, I would say, of the league at this particular point. So here they are at the Cardinals after losing to the Eagles. You think this would be a great get right game? This is the only 300 bias plus score we've seen all season. 280 in points, 420 in turnover differential against the Cardinals. Only 300. Really.
There's no way I can go against a 300 bias plus. I just can't do it. I would be crazy. That would be the upset of all upsets. However, we just saw the upset of all upsets last week with the Eagles beating them.
With the Eagles.
So
wasn't quite 300, but it was up.
It was pretty high. I think the Cardinals might give them a bit of a game. I hope they do.
Division weirdness.
That's right.
Division weirdness.
I hope they do. And the Cardinals know they're not going anywhere. And, this is the time of year when teams that aren't going to the playoffs, there's certain players out there that are like, okay, now I'm playing for my job. Now I'm playing for my next contract. Now I got to put some good stuff on tape. More good stuff on tape. Hopefully they've been playing well as they can all year. And things happen. But, I got to go with the Rams. That's too easy.
Well, you say, now I got to play for a contract. And in my mind, I'm thinking, now I got to spoil your day.
Well, that too. But
I just want to make your day bad.
I'm talking about individual thinking. In the locker room, I'm sure they're all going to each other saying, let's not these boys. Let's make it tough on these boys. You know what I mean?
Tough on these boys. You know what I mean? I mean, it's kind of bananas. Speaking of tough on these boys, my beloved 49ers, like the Pledge of Allegiance. Man, they got to deal with the monsters in the Midway. Jeez. But at least they're home.
At least you're home.
At least we're home.
You guys play pretty good at home.
The Bears have 191 net point bias in their favor and a 35 turnover difference bias in their favor for 226. We stink in terms of turnover. I mean, my Niners.
35.
My Niners are 32nd in turnover differential with minus 22 for the season.
What?
Yes.
Minus 22.
Minus 22 turnover differential. That's last place for the league. You see, the thing about the net points in these numbers, I don't care how much of a fan you are, the numbers are what they are. We just have to deal with them. However, we were pretty big underdogs going against the Seahawks also. Now, again, that was division. Weird things happen in the division, but
So the Bears are number 1 in turnover differential.
And we're 32nd. We're last. Yeah.
Fantasy note. If you happen to be in your fantasy championship this weekend and you happen to have the Bears defense and you're not sure, should I play them or should I play Seahawks or do it? Maybe I have the Cowboys. Don't think twice. Play the Bears. Holy mackerel.
All I have to say is Go Niners.
Yeah, well, I mean,
That's all I got to say about that situation.
Oh, here's a good game.
The Saints have a 99 net point bias against their Steelers. They're home. They're in the dome. They got a 6 turnover differential bias, giving them a 105 bias plus score in the Saints' favor.
Okay, so the Steelers are feeling pretty good probably about beating the Patriots. The Saints had a little close one there against the Panthers, but they were efficient. They got the job done. Now they're back home, and their fans are going to be looking at them funny. So this could be a high-scoring game. This could be a high-scoring game. If James Conner comes back, even if James Conner doesn't come back, the Saints' defense, although much improved, their secondary is still no match for AB and Juju and them guys, man. It's just – and Roethlisberger seems to be as healthy as he's been in a while, throwing the ball well. They got just enough running game.
He's not as really that healthy. I mean, after that Raiders game –
I mean, he's always banged up, but I mean –
yeah, well, that Raiders game, because, you know, they took him out the game, took him into the locker room, and then later complained that the X-ray equipment was faulty and they really couldn't, you know, see a lot of what was going on. So we'll see just how.
Yeah, but then he played a whole game this past weekend.
Yeah, that's true.
Against the Patriots.
That's true.
And he survived.
He survived. So
never went to the blue tent.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
This could be a high-scoring game.
Okay. All right.
Both secondaries are a little shaky. Steelers' secondary is a little more shaky than the Saints. I expect the Saints to win. And again, that would be with the bias.
With the bias. Going with the bias. Chiefs at Seahawks.
Your sleeper team.
My sleeper team.
What say you?
This could be a possible Super Bowl matchup. Oh,
I was not expecting you to say that.
Just joking. I don't think. Well, you know.
No, it's possible.
It's possible.
It's not probable, but it's possible.
I mean, the Seahawks have to come out of the division. You got the Rams, you know, still leading the division pretty heavily. The Chiefs, you know, again, the Chiefs' defense, in terms of rankings, is 28th in the league. Okay. Now their offense is number 1. So they're at those extreme ends in terms of points scored and points given up. But Mahomes is Mahomes, and he will generally put the points up on them. The Seahawks, after coming off of a loss to my Niners, they know they have to get it done.
Yes,
they have to get it done. And
the fans are going to be screaming. I'm picking the upset on this one. I'm going against the bias. I'm going to take the Seahawks.
Oh, okey-dokey.
The Chiefs are due for a stumble.
Well, you know, the Chiefs have lost to the top teams. Those are the only losses that they've had.
And who are the top teams?
Well, they lost to the Patriots.
Okay.
They lost to the Chargers.
Okay.
Right? Who else did they lose? I think they have 3 losses. Yeah, Chiefs have 3 losses. Forget who they lost to beyond that. But those
they
are
won the Rams game. So the Steelers and the Patriots, power rankings wise, are not top teams. Are they?
You talking about net points?
Yeah.
Well, the Steelers are 10th in net points.
Okay, so they're in the top 10.
And the Patriots, yeah, none of them are in the top 10.
Patriots are 11.
Patriots are 11.
Right.
Right.
So when you say top teams, the Chargers beat them, didn't they?
Yeah.
Now that's a top team. That's a top
you were
team.
Questioning my calling the
Steelers, especially
and the Patriots top team?
Yes.
Oh, they're still top 10 or in that. You know, they still, they have top quarterbacks.
And those other people's rankings, they're considered top teams.
Yeah. But they've got top quarterback. I think that's kind of
I'll give you that.
Between the old, you know, the old master and the young gun.
That's true.
You know, they've lost a few of those games, but they've won. Like I said, they're 11-3. So,
they lost both those games in a row too, didn't they?
I think so.
I know they went to the Patriots. I'm not sure about the Steelers.
So what do you think? You going with the
I'm
Chiefs?
going with Seahawks.
I'm going with the Seahawks.
I'm going with Seahawks in the
Against
upset.
Tobias.
Yes, sir.
The upset. Okie dokie. Broncos at Raiders. This is your Monday night.
So sad. This used to be a heck of a rivalry. This used to be some kind of game. And now,
I think so Lindsey made the Pro Bowl.
that's great.
Really made the Pro Bowl as a running back. Broncos 165 net point bias for turnover differential bias in their favor, giving them bias plus 4 score of 180.
This should be a good game. When I say good, I mean there will be points scored. There will be hitting. That's about it. If you're a fan of either team, you'll probably be like, hoping that you win. But I'm going to go with the bias and take the Broncos. The offensive line for the Raiders is pretty poor. I think Von Miller, 2 sacks, maybe a strip, maybe force a pick.
You don't have anything to play for contract-wise, does he?
No, he's got long-term. He's good.
Well, that's the last game of the schedule for the weekend. That's our Monday night matchup. Before we sign off, first, we want to share that you can find Ben and Barry on Football A at our website, www.benandbarryonfootball.com, benandbarryonfootball.com. You can find us on Facebook at BNBOF. You can find us on Twitter at Ben and Barry on Football. Put some good stuff up on the Twitter this week. A lot of the things that we like to share on our social media, we like to mention are things where people are doing some good stuff. We shared my calls, my cleats. Thought that was pretty interesting. It even showed what's his name that knelt with Kaepernick.
Eric
Reed. They even showed his cleats, So that's
These are Kaepernick centric, aren't they?
I do believe.
Yes.
So
it's his cause.
Before we finish up, we have our rants. Have an opportunity to just kind of let it all hang out. Would you like to go, or would you like me to go first?
I'll go. I'm ranting on myself this week. I'm a fantasy geek, especially with football. But I'm a fantasy geek, so that means I play fantasy basketball. I play fantasy baseball. I've been known to play fantasy hockey. Okay, I didn't have time for fantasy hockey this year. But I'm in the midst.
You play fantasy golf?
I tried fantasy golf one time, but I quit.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't keep up. I couldn't see. It was too hard to figure out. But I might give it another shot one day. I have 3 teams on CBS. I have 10 teams on ESPN. I have 10 or 12 teams in Yahoo. I have 8 teams on NFL.
I've lost count.
Okay. So my rant is that if I'm on any of those sites and I have 10 teams or more, I usually will get in. If I have 10 teams, I'll be in 8 championships and I'll win 5 or 6 of them.
Okay.
Under normal circumstances. This year, I don't know what happened. I went in to the semis with like 12-1, 11-2, and lost. I didn't even pay attention to them while the games were going on. I got up Monday and was like, what the? And that's the crazy thing about fantasy. Like, you got to really, really watch yourself, pay attention, check the matchups, stay on top of what defenses are doing, whether they're good against the run, whether they're good against the pass, blah, blah, blah. Bottom line is, I'm ranting on myself because I didn't do as well as I normally do. The 4 money leagues I played in, I did not make the playoffs in one of them. The other one doesn't end until Super Bowl, but I'm in first place in my division at the moment. And the other one, I'm in the championship this weekend. So, money league wise, I'm good. Oh, I'm sorry. The other two, I got one in ESPN. I'm in the championship. That's with the guys on the Knolls.
Okay.
Yahoo is ex PTTFL players.
Ben still coaches in the Philadelphia Tucks Football League, Tucks Football League. So,
and then my main league is like some friends
that he's talking about. Knowles. That's who he coaches. So,
yeah.
In that league.
So money league wise, I'm good, and I probably pay more attention to those teams anyway. So that's why the other ones are just something to do.
Okay.
Right. So I'm upset. I'm really angry.
All right.
Yeah, I'll be worse if I lose those money leagues. I win them. I don't care about the other ones.
Well, my rant has to do with Madden. One of the things that I said I wanted to do this season was to raise my ranking. And to be quite honest,
this is in the online
world, right? And a lot of times I don't play online because I'm always multitasking. And if I get a minute, I'll pull up a game. But if I need to stop and go take a call and do whatever I'm going to do, So I don't want to be in a game with somebody on the other side, right? So I really hadn't been doing it. So putting together all the statistics for the show, got mostly everything done, had a few minutes, house is quiet, and I thought, let's go on. Let's get out there. Let's put ourselves out there. And I don't like to play online late at night because I get hyped up. The adrenaline starts to flow. I'm like ready to go to battle. It's almost like I'm playing again. I'm ready. It's like, because you don't know who you're going to get. So I go on there. I forget I told you there were how many, like 18,000 people playing or something like that. Only like 100 looking to play. So I'm like, okay, who's the 100? I'm one of the 100 or whatever. So I came in with a ranking of 2280, I believe. I don't know if that's super good, super bad, but my only goal was to kind of get it up a little bit. So here we go, right? Game comes up. Whoever's playing, they come on, they got the Saints, right? So I'm playing with the Niners. Mm-hmm. I said I'm going to ride and die with my team, right? I'm playing with the Niners. They're playing with the Saints. Obviously, they have a better team. I kick the ball off. Guy's moving the ball. I mean, he's passing the ball. I'm blitzing him. He's beating the blitz a few times. I'm like, okay, I got some competition here. Now I'm really hyped, right? He drives the ball down on his initial drives, gets into down by the red zone. My defense stiffens. We are red zone. We grew up bend but don't break, right? Kicks a field goal. I kind of felt like he had to be a bit disappointed. He did so well moving the ball.
And then got stuck when he got down there.
And then got stuck. Okay, so he gets his 3. He kicks the ball off to me. I go downfield in maybe 4 plays and score. Like, bam, bam, bam. And a lot of times when I'm playing online, the feel of the controller is a little bit different. Things might feel a little sluggish or whatever. Okay. Now, I upgraded my speed, right? I'm not on wireless anymore. I'm direct Cat 5 to the PlayStation 4. So, that's not it. And the buttons, the responsiveness felt really good. I just felt good.
You mad people out there, he's talking
what I'm talking about, right? So, I kicked the ball off to him.
Right.
He moves the ball, a couple nice plays, got the feeling himself. Went deep on me.
Oh.
Right? I picked the ball off. I must have picked it off at about the 20, took it back 80 on him. Oh. Right? I'm super juiced now, right?
Right.
He quit.
What?
Quit.
He just
player is whatever they give you the little blurb or whatever that he's left the game, whatever.
What? He punked out on you?
I can't tell you.
Was it like a thrilling run back? Was you like spinning and breaking tackles?
Well, you know,
or was it running them up the sideline?
It was
like
more up the sideline, but I did have to kind of make a move here or there and
Right.
then just, take off on them. You know what I mean? And I mean, most of the games I play are simulations against, or I
Right.
play against the computer.
Right.
But it was way too much adrenaline in my body. I was
Right.
way too hyped up
Right.
for him to just go and pull the plug. Another reason I don't like to play on that.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
I didn't even know what to do with all that adrenaline.
I don't blame
So I
you.
decided to play the game against the game, right? Pull up the Cowboys, I think it was. I played them. And first half, I throw 3 picks, and I'm down 9-0 in the first half. I'm like, what happened? I was feeling it.
You should have quit.
I should have quit. No, but I didn't quit.
Right.
And I won that game by 1 point.
There you go.
So I
So
was
you
able
felt
to,
better. You were able to go to bed with a clear
Yeah,
conscience.
I felt, the adrenaline. Like, I hate when people quit. Especially that early. It was still the first quarter.
Yeah.
It's too early to quit. I mean, I know it looked like I was, getting ready to put it on them, and I felt like I was getting ready to put it on them, but that's football. You don't know. Time can change, man.
Right.
Like in baseball, basketball. Sometimes you're up 20 against the Warriors, and,
Yeah, but
9
it
threes
depends
later,
on
you're down.
your competitiveness. Like, you're like, I want to play the game. I want to play it as well as I can, and I want to try my best to win. And some people are just like, let me go in here and see who I can bust. And then when it ain't working, they're like, oh, screw this. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
They're not really.
I have a certain level of content, and I over-prepare. I mean, you can't believe, the level of audibles and stuff that I can go through in a minute. I mean, I go in with a formation. I've got 5 plays I'm ready to go to at any one particular time. So
there's nothing wrong with it. If I told people the amount of time that I spend on fantasy, in fact, usually when I tell people how many fantasy teams I have, the first thing they say is, how do you have time? I could tell you how to do it, but then I'd have to kill you. So I'm not going to do that. Just know people have far worse hobbies than that. Okay? I know people that sit in a bar for the amount of time at minimum that I spend on fantasy. So
they're getting drinks, eh?
Exactly. So,
Well,
good, clean fun.
The moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen, is never, ever quit.
Yeah, that's not cool.
That's not cool. And you could cause the person on the other end to blow a gasket or something. I was like,
so I can see you. You're running back the interception. You're like, yeah, go, 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 go. And the other guy's going, no! Ah, man, screw this.
I guess that's what he did. He was out. He was like, enough of that.
I'm done.
I'm like, gee.
That's crazy.
All right. Any last words?
I only got 2. Go Noles.
Peace out.